Hey everyone, we are going to take a look at the rock cycle today. Alright, so in our rock cycle we have three main rock types. We have igneous rocks, we have sedimentary rocks, and we have metamorphic rocks. Now these three rock types can change from one rock type to another rock type. And what we're going to do right now is look at how these rock types change through what processes. So we're going to start over here at sediments. And in sediments, these are tiny particles that make up rocks. Sediments are broken pieces of material. They can be broken pieces of rocks, of minerals. They're just small pieces of rock. Small pieces of other rock types. Now, when you have sediments, they can become, look at your arrow, they can become a sedimentary rock through the process called compaction and cementation. Compaction and cementation. So compaction is where you just press and compact something tightly. You basically have these layers, and as the layers build up and up and up, they get heavy, and the top layer pushes down and compacts the other layers. Then you have cementation, which is basically like concrete, a concrete-like material, a sticky material, glue-like material that combines and cements together these sediments into a sedimentary rock. So compaction and cementation. When you have a sedimentary rock, it can also break apart and become sediments. And this is through the process of weathering and erosion. So for weathering and erosion, I have a little hammer here. Weathering is to break down the rocks. Erosion is the movement of those rock types, or those particles, sorry. All right, so that is how you go from sediments to sedimentary rock, and from a sedimentary rock back to sediments. Let's move it forward from sedimentary rock. You can take a sedimentary rock and turn it into a metamorphic rock. The way you do that is through heat and pressure. Heat and pressure. Heating, there's multiple ways you can heat a rock. You can continue compacting and compacting and compacting, and as you push something together, it builds heat naturally. You could also subduct a rock. We just got done with plate tectonics. Through the process of subduction, where one tectonic plate goes beneath another tectonic plate, that where you have convergent boundaries, that is subduction. So if you subduct a rock, you build up heat through the process of friction. Pressure is that pushing until it pressurizes, just like a pressure cooking pot. You have pressure building and building and building and building until the pressure becomes so hot that it melts and deforms. Not melts, but it deforms the rock. Now, when you have a metamorphic rock, what happens is you get a really cool kind of like striations, you get marbling, you get really neat like lines, and we call it foliation in the rock type. All right, how else can you make a metamorphic rock? You can also go from igneous to metamorphic through the same process of heat and pressure. So anytime you're making a metamorphic rock, it requires heat and pressure. Metamorphic rock requires heat and pressure. So to go from sedimentary to metamorphic, heat and pressure. Igneous to metamorphic, heat and pressure. Let's go to an igneous rock. One way you can make an igneous rock, all igneous rocks are made from molten rock. So let's start with magma. Magma is molten rock material. Molten, another word for molten, is to melt. Basically, it's a melted rock. Melted rock material. So what I have here for you is a volcano. So what we're gonna do is grab a red pen. Oh my goodness, how do I not have a red pen? Okay, pink it is. So for our molten rock, we have magma. There's our little volcano. You can also create magma. Magma starts deep within the earth. So we have molten rock, which is deep within the earth. How do you get molten rock? Well, we have to melt it through the process called, you guessed it, melting. All right, from magma, that magma will cool. It cools, and that cooling molten rock becomes an igneous rock. Igneous rocks can then turn back to magma by heating. Another word is melting. Melting. Cooling, melting. All right, igneous rocks. There are two types of igneous rocks. We have intrusive igneous rocks, and we have extrusive igneous rocks. Inside the earth. Intrusive is inside the earth. Extrusive is the exterior or outside earth. Inside earth, outside earth. So those are my two types of intrusive rocks. My two types of igneous rocks. You can have an intrusive igneous or an extrusive igneous. All right, moving forward. You can go from igneous to sediments and then sediments to a sedimentary rock. You cannot go from an igneous rock straight to a sedimentary rock without first breaking that igneous rock into bits and pieces. You could go from a metamorphic rock to a sedimentary rock, but first you'd have to go from a metamorphic rock, break it down into sediments, and then from sediments, compact and cement. So metamorphic rock, we know that if it's a metamorphic rock, going from metamorphic to sediments, anything going to a sediment, you have to break it. We're breaking this rock to become sediments. How do you break a rock? Weathering. And then you have to move all those materials. Weathering and erosion. Igneous, same thing. To go from an igneous rock to a sedimentary rock, you have to go from igneous to sediments. How do you go from igneous to sediments? You have to break that rock. Weathering and erosion. All rocks are made up of minerals. Minerals are the building blocks of rocks. Minerals are what builds rocks. So all of these rocks up here are made from minerals, such as quartz, we have magnetite, there's all different types of minerals that make up rock types. Your job right now is to, off of each rock type, draw a box, and we're going to go to the interactive, and we're going to write down a definition of the rock type. So metamorphic rocks, we have sedimentary rocks, and then we have igneous rocks. So each of these are bits of information about each of the rock type.